these concepts of like cancel culture to be like, that thing is bad, now this is good. And, like that's just another manifestation of not enoughness, or like not allowing all nature to be itself.
Welcome to Holy Chit. I am your host, Christy Austin, here to remind you that you are whole, just the way that you are. Also, Chit, a Sanskrit word for consciousness, pure consciousness. Why we're all here to raise the collective consciousness through telling our stories and sharing our journeys. I am super excited to announce our guest today, Abigail Fischer. I'm just going to let her jump right in to tell you who she is and what she does. Abigail, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much for having me on this beautiful podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am a musical medicine woman, bringing healing through music and through voice activation and through breath work, welcoming people back to live as their whole selves, to find those places that have been disconnected, to reconnect, to remember who your true self is, so you can live as your whole self and express yourself through joy, authenticity, and to feel that interconnectivity of all that is. But first, we have to find those places, right? We have to find those places that are disconnected, that want to be seen, that want to be loved, that want to come back. And so in some shamanic practices, that's called a soul retrieval. Sometimes parts of ourselves through trauma disconnect. And so, and actually are shut off completely from who we are. And we actually literally forget them. We shut them in the closet, in the attic, and we actually don't even, consciously remember those places. And some of those places are traumatic memories.
So if you don't mind sharing, I love where you're going with this already, but I'd really like to understand how you got involved in the frequency sound healing. How did you, what did your journey look like? How did you become aware of this healing method?
Well, I am born into a very musical family. My entire extended family on both sides are musicians. And so I was raised as a classical musician. I'm a classically trained opera singer. I was raised as a cellist. The first 18 years I was only played cello, and I played some piano. And then I went into school and I did mostly cello, and I started singing. And then I became a classically trained artist. I did opera. I did a lot of contemporary opera. I did a lot of Baroque opera. I still do, new works. I still, create. I'm an active creator still in the classical art. But I'm very much a pioneer. So because of that, I had this tendency to go towards, I have this tendency to create new works. And so I still work with some classical artists that are creating contemporary healing, really through classical opera. But I became aware of because everything is in alignment in every moment for our growth. I became aware of the reason that I was tending towards singing in the first place, and the reason why I wanted to constantly evolve myself to become a better singer was because of the initial wound, which was not being safe to be myself.
Can I just say, wow, I'm so impressed with your credentials in singing music. I had no idea that that really is impressive. But please continue on where you were talking about the initial wound of not being able to be yourself, because that's powerful, right? Everything you're
Yeah.
saying is powerful.
Yeah. So our society has extricated the wild woman from our society through, the history of witch burning, the history of disarming the wisdom of um, the wild feminine. And we've extricated it completely. And we've lifted up this toxic masculine archetype, which is wounding everybody every time it's lifted up. And so, as a kid, that manifested in myself as wanting to run around in the berry bushes and getting like scraped, and my mom just totally reasonably like being afraid and just and holding me, keeping me inside. Um, and being trained that in the classical, also the classical opera world is one manifestation of colonial education. So it's not to say that it's bad, because saying something that is right and wrong or bad and good is also uh, you know colonial white supremacist idea that everything is dual. It's actually nature wants to be free flowing aliveness, wants to express itself fully as it is. And so, like, these concepts of like cancel culture to be like, that thing is bad, now this is good. And, like, that's just another manifestation of not enoughness, or like not allowing all nature to be itself.
Mhm.
So, sorry, I just like kind of
No,
like
I
gave
agree
you a whole
100%.
word vomit.
I agree 100%. Keep going, please. 'Cause
Yeah. So I just, I've been in this basically ceremony of my life of like trying to, I have so much to express. Like, I am in many ways the embodiment of like the Empress tarot card. Like, I am constantly creating music for healing, but it's in order to heal. It's in order to express. I have so many planets in Leo in the house of service, in the sixth house. So it just so much wants to be expressed, because the initial wound was not feeling safe to be expressed, right? So it's like we all have this journey to, like, our journey is we all have trauma, and then the journey of the life is healing and empowering the gift that's on the other side of the trauma, um, to and then spreading that and sharing the wisdom of that into the world. So very, for me, very much it's like the voice, it's self-expression, it's going deep. I'm very much like a healer archetype at my core of my nature. I love to dive super deep. I love to like I'm the knife in Mayan astrology. I'm the surgeon, the healer. I love to dive super deep, find the thing that is like, like the tooth that's like, lodged in deep, and just like extricate it. And then, okay, like, how do you step in your full power? How do you manifest your dreams? How do you find your sovereignty? And I do that so well because the wound went so deep for me. It went very, very, very deep. And so I've had to like go and find all those little places that just want to be seen and want to be loved, that want to be expressed, really. It wants to just um like overflow. It's like the I like to equate the work that I do with voice. It's sort of like the big bang. Like, you're literally, your voice is the big bang of your universe, and like allowing it just to be free and to be this like free flowing aliveness of whatever wants to manifest from you, literally, like whatever you want to create. is your voice, or it doesn't have to be your spoken voice. It doesn't have to be your singing voice, but it's your throat chakra, right? So it's like, what's wanting to like be the what is the big bang of your solar system, of your unique solar system?
It all started with the word, right? So the voice is manifestation, it's frequency, it's what is it that Nikolai Tesla said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So that's like,
Hmm.
and then that's one of my favorites. And then also the Albert Einstein one, that uh, quote that said that the future of medicine will be one of frequencies. So we underestimate that. Like, I'm super, because I'm a sound healer. I don't utilize my voice like you. I need to take some of your classes, because you do teach, correct? You teach.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I do programs, like individual programs, and then I also do like group sessions.
to utilize the voice, because I have a whole collection of crystal bowls and Tibetan bowls and my chimes and my drums and so many healing instruments that I absolutely love. But the one most powerful instrument we all have, and that's our voice. And we need to utilize it more. We need to learn that when we're speaking, we're casting a spell every time we open up our mouth. So use your words wisely, choose those words, what you want to manifest, what you want to create, what you want to bring into fruition. So someone like you who actually teaches people to use their voice and open up that throat chakra is so powerful, because much like you, I have a lot of trauma there. It's taken most of my life to learn how to open up that throat chakra and utilize the most powerful musical instrument that's ever created. And that's our voice, you know.
Hmm.
So thank you. Thank you for what you do. Please share more about what you do.
Yeah, I'm super curious to hear from you if there's a specific voice practice that has been really activating and really helpful for opening up your throat chakra.
In my mantras have really been the biggest change for me, and it's really helped me to use my voice, period. Like, I've felt most of my life like I had pressure on my chest. I couldn't talk. Nobody understood me when I did talk. So even doing this podcast is healing for me, because it's a way to speak my truth. It doesn't matter what people, if it resonates with people or not, at least I can speak my truth. And I'm no longer living in fear of what other people think or what they have to say about my truth, where for so many years I did care. I let it affect me. I let it change me. I let it deter the choices that I would make in life. And when I started yoga and meditation and mantras were introduced, I was like, you want me to actually use my voice in class? Like, that was traumatizing to me. I'm like, people are going to hear me, And what I learned is that just feeling the vibration in my throat was powerful. And I remember as a kid going around singing and dancing, and like, that was, you feel so free when you do that. I'm like, where did I lose that? Why did I lose that? So that's why I love hearing what you do, that you teach people how to express themselves and how to open up that throat chakra. Because I feel like there's so many people like me that have that closed throat chakra, or afraid to open it up in front of people. Maybe they can in private. And I'm in the car with my kids. We jam out. We turn up the music that they want to hear. And they always think it's funny when I know their music, and I'll rock it. I don't care how bad I sound around my children. But if I get around people, all of a sudden I'm like, no, I don't want to sing. I'm not going to sing in front of you. It's like a fear of judgment, which shouldn't be there. We should be able to express ourselves without the fear of judgment. Who cares?
You're hitting right on that core wound right there. Fear of judgment. Because, and of course, judgment is aligning with what we were talking about before, the concept of that there is a sort of ultimate rightness and that we have to fit to this like top down patriarchal, toxically patriarchal structure that is not in alignment with our true nature.
Mhm.
Right. And so the root chakra, and then it gets like dislodged, and so there's these like tectonic plates of safety, and then that is like informing ability to actually feel fully into the sacral chakra, and this is a collective feminine wound as well. So then
Mm.
the sacral chakra is really really connected. It's developmentally connected to the vocal folds. And so when you're developing in the fetus, the cells of the vagina are really connected, very very similar to come from the same place where the vocal folds come from. So they are energetically connected. And so especially the feminine wound of being silenced and not being allowed to be itself, to be its powerful wild feminine, gets silenced in so many ways, in like infinite ways. And so yeah, because you were judged in the past. We have been judged and we've been burned and killed for it. So like, yeah, that survival mechanism comes in super deep.
Mm. And so
And all those layers. So then like, even if you're in the healing world, like just having that awareness of what you just said is so powerful, to just bring the awareness. Oh, interesting. I feel comfortable expressing myself however it wants to come out, literally, with my kids, because I'm allowed to be. I feel comfortable. I feel safe to feel myself with my kids. But maybe it would be different if it was in front of your parents, or maybe it would be different if it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, maybe, what was the programming that you got from them? Like, or maybe it's somebody that you've known for a really long time that was like a mentor, and you had repeating a pattern with the parental structure of, is it safe to like be fully yourself? Are you going to judge, how do I have to temper what I'm going to say, or change what I'm going to say to be valid enough, worthy, beautiful, like worthy of love, or, there's just so many layers to be, like just the right size. Because sometimes it's like, I'm too big, I'm too small, then it's like, how manipulative was that energetically growing up for you, and just that awareness that you have is really enough to just sit there in that discomfort. And then you can, just like in any sort of meditation healing modality, like just bringing one, like a conscious breath into that noticing. If you're in a situation where you're like, wow, I didn't feel comfortable to speak what I really wanted to say, because I had that, I noticed that fear of judgment, that's like a moment where you can say, wow, like beautiful noticing. I'm just going to breathe into that for a second and feel that in my body. And then, okay, now I can choose consciously. And this is part of like bringing sovereignty into the healing world, because it never really ends. It's just like, bringing all these different, the breathwork practice, the awareness practice, the somatic practice, all of this together. And that's what the breathwork does, is bring this embodied awareness. It's like same work with meditation. It's just with somatic work. It's the same thing. Bringing that awareness in and taking a breath into that, all of that. And then, okay, now what do I choose? So bringing choice into your awareness is what engages your sovereignty to grow in the way that you choose to grow. And that is where your power lies. So then, and where your voice lies, the power of your voice lies. So this is a lot of like the work that I do with like individual work, because it's like, that's really where your power is. Now you can have all this like healing stuff that you collected. And I work with people to like, okay, what are the modalities that resonate with you? you know? And then we bring all that in, and then it's like, okay, how can you, and sometimes it's the wheel of consent too, because you need to understand your patterns of like saviorism that might have come up, or like whatever whatever your patterns are that are out of balance, the energetic patterns that are out of balance, that are taking you out of your sovereignty, making you think you don't have the power to choose your reality, but you
Mhm.
do.
100%.
Right? So bringing that sovereignty, that conscious awareness in, so that you can create the reality of your dreams. And then then you're hooked up. Then your energy is hooked up. Then you can feel your emotions in your sacral chakra. Then you can root down and you can ground down and you can ground in your truth. You can understand your truth. You can feel your emotions and you can voice your truth. So it's all very, it's all energetic. Yes, it's all energetic. Um it's all sound, but it is ultimately, it's about, the voice is your gift to the world. Like, what do you want to bring, your gift to the world? And when you're not using your voice, maybe you're repeating a sort of pattern of victim mentality, and that's something that is wanting to be felt and wanting to be processed.
Believing Before Seeing, a new book by Candace Bard, teaching you how to believe into existence. Available now for pre-order.
And I love the fact that you mentioned there's no good or bad. We like to put those labels on things, good and evil, good and bad. And I like how you mentioned that it's all just expressions of the frequency, or not the same frequency, but it's all expressions of us. So we can choose what it is we want to create. If we're stuck in that negative pattern, or what we perceive as negative, we want to feel that, but we can work through it and choose whether we want to stay stuck in that pattern or we want to move beyond it. So I think that's very powerful when you were talking about that the good and bad, or what's perceived as good and bad, and that we really do have the choice. Because a lot of times I don't think that people understand we have a choice. We can choose to move beyond that. We can choose to stay stuck in that. We can choose to create whatever it is we want to create. With the work,
Yeah, so we get stuck for good reason, right? Because there's part of the healing journey is like understanding that getting stuck in that place was there for us for however long. It could have been for decades, for most of our life, for all of our life, that we were stuck for a reason, and for good reason. And then it's like, okay, understanding that. So creating enough understanding or understanding so that we can see why it was there to serve us. That pattern was there to serve us for such a long time. And then it's getting wide enough perspective. That's why breath work can be amazing. That's why plant medicine can be amazing. That's why voice work can be amazing, because it's like, or meditation or Vipassana meditation. What is the tool? What are the tools that help you get outside of your current situation enough so you can understand, you can experience embodied, um, something different than the path that has been repeating for your whole life. And then you can see from a different perspective that you actually don't have to be, that you can choose. You don't actually have to repeat that anymore.
we don't
but,
have to
but sometimes you have to experience that.
trauma.
You have to experience a different perspective. You get stuck in like whatever that angle of the one consciousness is, that the diamond, you're only looking at that one perspective. And maybe there's like a little, like there's the shadow or whatever, there's a little blot, there's a little
Right.
beautiful blot in that diamond. And that's your angle that you've been stuck in.
And that also is what gives us compassion for others is when we're going through that ourselves, we have an understanding of what that is, what it feels like. So when we're ready to choose to move on, we have compassion for others that are going through similar situations. So I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, so much, so much, so much. Yeah, and part of this growing is really creating more capacity, not only to create safety in yourself, to allow yourself to be yourself as it wants to express, but also more space in your heart to feel compassion for not only all of the spaces in yourself that want to be felt, but also therefore as a reflection outside of yourself for all that other people that you encounter are going through. Because it's, I something that I really learned is when people say, when you see somebody stuck in, it's like, it's about me, it's about me, it's about me, that's just like, oh, it ignites my compassion. I just see like, oh, that they're going through it, they're really stuck in the suffering of that perspective. And it is super hard to get when you're really stuck in that perspective. It can be super hard to get out, so just more worthy of compassion.
Yes. And I love that you said compassion within yourself, because I know so many people that will say, oh, they have compassion for other people's traumas, what they're going through. But I'll look at them and say, what about you? Are you giving yourself understanding and love and compassion and forgiveness? Because we hold on to these emotions, and we harm ourselves. We then build toxins within our body because we can't forgive ourselves for things that have happened. So having that compassion and love really starts from within to be able to spill over to others, to everyone.
Yeah, I think that that's something that's really important to understand in the healing community. Some people are like, oh yeah, it's like, it's a reflection, it's a reflection. And this is something that some people in the healing world say, but if you're not in the healing world, to really understand what that means is exactly what you're talking about. And I feel like this is a lot of the medicine that I provide, is really looking at unconditional love and healing the love that wants to be felt for inside ourselves. And that the more that you can find all those places that want to be loved inside you, the more that you start to allow intimate connection with others outside of you. And that's what just a really glimpse of that, the reflection is talking about, is, if that's something that's not familiar for you, is like doing the work. That's really the only thing that you can change, is truly is yourself. So looking and finding all those places that want to be felt and that want to change and want to grow in yourself first. Because if you're just looking outside of yourself, and there are some people whose gift is to change the world outside, and I don't want to like denigrate that at all. But there's also a lot of projection and blaming. And those are shadow sides of unconditional love that hasn't been healed inside.
Right.
And taking responsibility for the healing work that wants to come forward inside.
So I think most frustrations that come from within are expectations of others. So I love the fact that you brought that up. The only thing that you can control is yourself. So if you don't like having that frustrated feeling, stop having expectations for others. Look within. Stop looking without and having expectations for other people to make you happy or to do things a certain way or whatever that is. That whenever we have that feeling, it's coming from expectation. I expected my day to go this way and it didn't. I expected that person to react that way and it didn't. well, maybe you need to change within your expectations or the way that you're expecting to see the day.
Yeah, and then that would sort of tie into the work that I do with the wheel of consent, which is like, well, if you had an expectation, what did you want from somebody? Or what were you expecting that somebody else was going to give you without voicing that? Sounds like maybe that's not you. Sounds like you wanted to get something to, you wanted something to happen, but if you didn't voice that that's something that you wanted, that's the shadow side of like, not getting what you wanted, but like expecting that you were going to get. That's actually like, that's a lot of privilege right there.
Okay, Abigail, I really love the fact that you're tying this into the work that you do. I'm very intrigued about this because I'd like to learn more. How could I or anyone watching find more information on what you have to offer? Do you do one-on-one sessions? Do you do group sessions? How can we learn more?
Yeah, so I really love, I'm a projector in human design. I love, 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 love to do individual coaching. I love to do one-on-one programs, 3 or 4 months, to really get in there and find the root of like why the voice is wanting to be expressed, or what is wanting to be expressed, what's wanting to come through. I love doing these true voice emergence programs one-on-one. That's what I'm doing now, one-on-one. And then that's work with breath and voice in a ceremonial context. So it's very much like a breath and voice ceremony every time that we meet. And I work in somatic ways as well. And then I love doing I do group versions of that. Breath, I call it a rewilding breath and voice. Play shop, because ultimately it's about coming back into the free flowing aliveness of what we are, which is nature, and like but sometimes we have to dive in and feel the nitty gritty of the gunk. We have to breathe and voice and feel the gunk. And then we can be free and we can have fun and we can play and we can be our free flowing aliveness self, which is unique and like needs to be expressed. And just, I love, 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 love supporting that growth, that expansion, that, rebirthing. And so, yeah, I like to do the group stuff. And then I'm also creating musical experiences for that, which is the sort of, talk about like really the one-on-one is, I love doing that. That's more like the surgery work. Then the groups is, smaller, work. And then what I do is I create, as a musician, I create musical experiences that are healing and that really offer the same kind of medicine, but in a large scale. Because being a trained opera singer, and all this Leo energy, and in the 6th house, it can come forward in this very like large scale performative way, but it's still grounded in this like authentic inner work. So even if you're and on Saturday on the 11/11 portal, we're going to start doing, this is the first of its kind, we're going to start doing these musical experiences that are a larger scale healing experience with music. And that's kind of what I've been doing. That's what I do in my private work, and that's what I do in the group work. Is it's channeled music. It's improvised. I might have certain things in mind, and like with this 11/11 portal, it's with Will Clipman, multi-Grammy nominated drummer, who, we have specific kinds of songs that are just come out however they come out. It's like, it's improvised.
Okay. So
so 3 basic kind of offerings.
Okay. So I was just going to ask 3 questions for you. Where can we find your music? Can we find it on Spotify, or where can people find your music? Number 2, and then you can answer all the questions. The second question is, for the 11/11 portal coming up this Saturday, where can people get tickets? And the third question, what was the third question? Did I just have, the offerings that you have for the one-on-one sessions. Do you offer like, for people who don't live in Arizona, do you offer Zoom sessions or online sessions? Sorry to throw that all at you.
Okay. I'm like, oh, okay. So number one was, what was number one?
Number one was where can we find
Spotify.
Yay!
Spotify.
Okay.
So no, I don't have Spotify yet. That's gonna come out. That's gonna come out after we finish raising the money that we'll raise from this 1111 portal, is to finish the album called Remembrance Music for Spiritual Alignment, because the music is a portal for healing, right? And so just bringing and reconnecting what music's purpose actually is, or that this intentionality of why the music is being created for the purpose of your healing. Yeah. So to get super, super clear on that, I have some stuff that's out on SoundCloud, everything that you can find that exists out there. My YouTube channel is a little bit more like sound healing. It's all in my link tree on Instagram. So Instagram is the best way to connect with me. A big Om, A-U-M, so like Abigail, but like Om, like A-U-M, like the creative big bang of the universe, like we were talking about.
Yes.
A-U-M, so it's A-B-I-G-A-U-M. That's the Instagram, and that's also my website. And you can just find on that link tree has all the stuff. And then when we do come out with the album, it'll be on Spotify for sure. And yeah, so, and then I do 30-minute consultations. If this is something that you think that you want to do private sessions, you can contact me through the website, through DMing on Instagram for sure. And we can set up a consultation to see if this is right for you. And I do just as many Zoom programs as I do in person. And yeah, it's such an amazing pleasure to see how this work that, breathing and voice are both consciousness expansion practices. And it's just such an amazing way of learning how to stand in your power and honoring your gifts and sharing your gifts. I feel like I missed number 2. What was number 2?
It was the 11/11, but you said the link was in your Instagram. So you did kind of touch on it, but it was very quick. So they can get tickets for your 11/11 portal events. If they go to your Instagram, Om Abigail.
Yeah, a big Om.
That was, yes. So you go to your Instagram, you have your link tree, you have the event that's coming up for the 11/11 portal. They can do one-on-one sessions with you. It doesn't matter if they live in Arizona, live close by. They can do a session long distance with you, and they can find your music on SoundCloud, soon to be Spotify. Yay! Well, I'm so grateful that you came here and spoke some amazing frequencies into the universe for all of us to collectively rise our consciousness. Thank you so much. I love and adore you. Thank you for being here. You were amazing. I appreciate you. I adore you. I love you. I look forward to spending more time with you. Thank you.